I'd like to call to order the Guthrie Public Library Board at 5:36 in the PM. And I'll turn it over to Kim.
All right, so
I need to do roll call.
yes.
I'm still new at this president thing. Okay.
You're doing great.
I can do roll call.
So we have Jamie Newton, member.
Present.
Samantha Stewart, secretary.
Present.
Gracelyn Lorenz, president. And our wonderful director, Cameron.
Thank you. I will also note that Brenda Forsgren, our newest member, who was approved by City Council yesterday, is unfortunately not feeling well. She is a little sad that she won't be able to be here today. I told her not to worry about it.
It's this time of year.
It's that time of year. I mean, I almost had to push this meeting back because I didn't know if I would have enough staff to be here and keep the library open.
Gotcha.
It's rough out there, y'all.
And then we're also missing Tammy Hulsey. Okay. And we have established quorum with the three of us here. All right. The next item on the agenda is to review the minutes, which we will review next time. No.
Yes. Apologies. I forgot that I was supposed to do the minutes. So I will get those typed up and sent out as soon as possible.
That sounds great. And I now turn it over to Cameron for the director's report.
Fantastic. All right, thanks, guys. So I've just got a couple of updates. So November at the Guthrie Public Library is called Dinovember by the staff. We had tons of dinosaur events. We let people check out little plastic dinosaur toys. It was so much fun. We have a dinosaur costume that is in my office right now because my daughter, when they were not in school one day, decided that she needed to be the dinosaur ambassador for the library and was running around the library playing with the kids in her dinosaur costume.
Wonderful.
Yes. Very much a success. It's something the staff looks forward to every year. I think we all had a good time with that. Not a whole lot of updates from the city. I do also want to let you know that it wasn't long ago that the Guthrie Public Library had a 3D printer kind of over there behind the circulation desk. It fell into disuse and we donated it to the Friends Group. The Friends Group had someone take a look at it, basically said it just needed a really good cleaning and a couple of minor tweaks, and that thing is up and running right now. And actually the whole idea is we gave it to them so that they could sell it and then use that money for summer reading programs and things for the library. They asked me since it seems to be running pretty good, do we want them to sell it? And they thought they could probably get a couple $100 out of it, or do we want to take possession of it again? Just have it
a couple
handed back.
$100?
Yeah,
It's kinda old.
It is very old.
And
yeah.
huge. And they got it
It's-
from a grant, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. It's not easily storable.
It's not. It was actually over there where that fan is for a while.
I remember seeing it up there.
Yes.
So I remember what it looks like. It is big.
So I've talked to Jacob specifically. He is our youth librarian about whether or not we wanted it back. And of course, the first thing he said was, "Yes, absolutely. I want a 3D printer." And then I asked him, "I was like, well, what are we going to do with it?" And he's like, "Well, I don't know." So I gave him some time to kind of think it over because it's really just sitting in someone's garage right now.
Yeah.
Because of the age and size of it, it does not work very well for like programs.
Right.
Because it's slow to make anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one of those things where, come to the library and we'll 3D print something for you, because we might be able to start it and then you can come back the next day and pick it up.
I kind of tossed out the ideas like, well, maybe we could do a coding thing where we could teach the kids to maybe code a little bit and design something, and then we'll call them back whenever the thing gets made, which we would have to kick people off of the public computers because we don't have the laptops or anything like that for it. So I was kind of wondering if y'all had any ideas on what we could do with the 3D printer here at the library, or if we would just rather have the money from it. And I honestly go back and forth
Right.
on it. And I need to talk to Candy as well, because she knows a lot more
How
about
much
it.
is a new one?
It's so expensive.
Oh my gosh. Aren't they in the thousands?
Thousands.
That's
Yeah.
why I said
Yeah,
only
yeah.
200, because I know that they're
It was
pretty expensive.
the if I remember correctly, the quote I think was like 4, maybe 5, depending on
Right.
how much someone is willing to pay for an ode.
Sure.
How much in supplies do you need to actually make something?
That's what I was going to ask too.
We have plenty.
Plenty
And
of-
apparently it's in better condition, which I was worried about because that stuff degrades over time.
Sure.
It's plastic. But apparently the materials we have on hand,
right.
which we also donated, and apparently it was fine enough that we could sell those, not get very much money for them, but we could sell those as well. It's just plastic filament.
Could it be something that maybe, I mean, I know time is also an issue with your staff as well, but maybe prizes for summer reading, like something like you can design little phone holders or things like that that are custom. But again, it would be time, it would be...
Yeah, it would honestly probably be
Easier to
cheaper
sell.
and easier to get it from Oriental Trading.
I know, yeah.
I mean, it would be kind of cool. I was thinking of, I don't know, we can make, because they do D&D, which I'll talk about in a little bit. We can make little D&D figures out of it.
Sure, that would be fun.
Again, I don't know if our coding is up to it. Also, another wrinkle I will throw into this is that I think the main issue is not the hardware itself, it's the software, because it has to constantly be updated.
Yeah.
And
At some point, it won't be anymore, and then be...
yes. And with the laptops we have, updating software is much easier said than done.
Sure. Okay.
Well, it sounds to me like get what you can out of it and move on.
Okay.
That's kind of my...
I'm
feeling.
interested in buying it.
In buying it. Okay.
Yeah.
I will.
And all the supplies that go with it.
Let's see.
Cool.
Well, Trish has it right now. So, do you have her number? Okay. It maybe go. We were actually thinking about putting it on Facebook Marketplace. That we don't have to worry about shipping it. We can just sell it to somebody here and have it pick it up.
I can use it for church.
You could. Yeah, it does a decent job with making little things. And you know, maybe Jacob will come up with something. He's got a lot of
Yes,
stuff.
he has first dibs. Absolutely.
But that is where we are on that.
But we also to make sure that you're not having staff time being taken away from other things. And I know he's
You are.
probably very busy. with his
He's
stuff as
getting
well.
more into the swing of things.
Yeah.
But sometimes we are in a crunch.
Especially with illness season. And things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I get to talk about the programming. Our family program has been doing really well. We still have the chess club meeting here. I believe we had one of the highest attended chess clubs in November. Probably had 6 people, which is, we have 3 chess boards. That's pretty good for us as far as the chess club goes. All ages. We had everyone from kids to senior citizens attending. Looming is going okay for now. We are considering transitioning that to just like a bring your own craft circle thing instead of specifically looming hats for swag. One of the reasons is we have a new patron in town that is, they will not admit that they're good at crocheting, but they're really good. And the other day she dropped off 13 hats that she made by herself. So we could easily do something like that and still be able to provide hats for folks.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Because if you didn't know, we make the hats and Swag gives them away at the trunk or treat
Yes.
downtown. And then Lego Club is doing really well. Some of the numbers get really inconsistent. Sometimes we have a library full of them, and sometimes just a couple. But kids always talk about them. I spoke with a family today because they thought that Lego Club was today, but they were just a day early. It'll be tomorrow.
Is that Tuesdays and Thursdays or just Thursdays?
It is every other Thursday.
Every other
So on Thursday afternoons, the Looming Club and the Lego Club alternate. So
Gotcha.
I think Looming is first and third, and Lego is that can't be right because it's the third, and Lego is first and third. Looming is
Gotcha.
second and fourth.
First and third.
Another great thing you can do
Mhm.
with the crocheted hats is give them to a cancer center.
Yeah.
Because, cancer patients who have lost their when they're sitting getting their chemo treatments, they get quite cold because they keep it very cold in there. And they like to have hats and blankets available for them. So that's another,
That's good.
if you end up getting a lot of participation in that and having a lot of hats, that's another great place for them to go.
Next time I see the person that dropped off the 13, I may mention that that's another place for, not that we don't want all the hats that
Sure,
they need,
yeah.
but. All right. The Children in Tween program is going really well. Story time is getting, I'm not going to say out of hand, but you can definitely tell when story time is happening here. I have noticed that some of the EPIC teachers have started arranging when they meet students here because it can get pretty crazy at story time. Both Gwen and Jacob do story time here instead of just having a single person. It does really well. I'll talk about it more next month, but I do have to say that this morning, Mr. and Mrs. Claus, the same folks from our cookie contest, showed up for story time because they did a Christmas story time since we can't do it next week or the week after, and it was a lot of fun for the kids. Actually, one of our best story times in November was at the airport. We had all the folks meet them there. The biggest complaint I got was that there were so many people in the conference room that it was uncomfortable, but which is a good problem to have. And now we know that we can move them out to the hangar if we need to. But the kids got to see all the airplanes and tour the airport.
so cool.
It was a lot of fun. And the folks at the airport love having the little kids there too. That's what they told me, so I'm choosing to believe that.
I think they just liked all the people there.
Yeah, it was really great. We also had a tween bingo as the tween event. That one was pretty. We had a lot of cool people there. It was a lot of fun to interact with the kids and come up with the different ways that they can score bingo, and everyone got a prize. It was a lot of fun. Also, we use a lot of this cardboard here for a cardboard crafts weekend program.
That's awesome.
Because of the way we're doing the staff schedules, we're having more programmers on the weekend so we can do these weekend programs. And yeah, so since we had Jacob here on one Saturday, we did the cardboard crafts. We ordered like special tools that you can use to build and connect and cut the cardboard without, having to call the fire department or the hospital to come wheel people away. Yes. But that one was a lot of fun. We had about 8 kids show up for that, but they all had a blast with that. I wish I had a little bit more information on the tween meeting, but they're still really going really well. Our tween programmer has been feeling under the weather, so I haven't been able to get as much feedback from her as I want. But the Teen Wonka Party, I will point out, was a lot of fun. The kids got to watch some of the Wonka movies, and it was a blast for everyone involved. For adult programs, Let's Talk About It is still going good. I've heard a lot of feedback because a lot of this program is done through the Oklahoma Humanities Council, but I have heard, especially compared to last season's that we have better books and better presenters for this book club. So
good.
that one's going pretty well. We have a pretty steady group of people who show up for that one. And the Lights Camera Guthrie movie was Teata, which I haven't seen that one yet, but I've talked to some of the people who came and saw it here at the library and heard really good stuff. I knew it was a critically acclaimed movie, but apparently very well deserved. And fun fact, we found out that the Guthrie scenes in that movie, we are a stand-in for New York City. So they actually shot scenes downtown and put the New York skyline on top of that.
Oh, wow, that's
So
cool.
if you want to see Guthrie, if it was New York City, that's a good movie to watch. It's not my
Guthrie in
favorite.
costume.
It's not my favorite Guthrie in the Guys movie. That one would have to be Fast Charlie, which technically is filmed in Guthrie, but it's only like the last 10 seconds of the movie. And this time we're San Francisco instead of New York.
Okay.
Oh, I don't have the rest of my.
Nope, here.
It's on the back.
It's on not on mine.
Oh,
There you go.
no. That's funny.
Which I don't have a lot of information, but I must have printed this one single-sided. And it's like, well, I guess I'm done. Okay, no, I don't have a whole lot of information on our collection. I will note that every year there's a very predictable pattern in visits and checkouts. We do start to see it slow in November, and we've seen it this year. It's mainly because of the weather. We don't get as much foot traffic. Also, a lot of holidays, so we're honestly not open as much in November as we are in other months because we were closed for Thanksgiving. We had some city events, so we closed early on a day. But there is
Veterans
a
Day.
slight down,
Veterans Day.
And Veterans Day, we were closed for Veterans Day, so yes, lots. So part of that explains it, but it's a trend we'll probably see when we meet again in December and January. It really doesn't start picking up until about March. As far as the materials, honestly, not a lot of change since the last time we talked. I will note that, and this is something I don't think I've seen before, is I looked at a snapshot of November 1st and December 1st and kind of used that to gauge how much material we've gained and lost and stuff like that. To the penny, we have removed the exact same value of books as we cataloged and brought in. I don't know how that happened.
Wow.
I assumed it was a mistake, but I ran the numbers again and it zeroed
You're
out.
tracking
Wow.
Yeah.
it. You're doing it on purpose.
Yes. Let's say that. I am so good at my job that I can.
No, not that book.
guarantee
Not that book. It's worth too much.
No, get one 5 cents cheaper, so
Yes.
that mine.
Yes.
Yeah, we do have, I can't remember if we gained or lost, but the collection size only changed by 1 this month.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
We added about 100 teen fiction books to the collection, and we weeded about 100 books just from the general collection. I think the next big weeding project is DVDs, but from my memory, I could come back next month and tell you something completely different. And membership, as we will see, is pretty steady. All right.
Seems like you did DVDs not too long ago, and you said
Maybe.
after you weeded them, their checkouts went up.
That happens when we did the big weeding, especially in the fiction. That's what happened. Because
Do you recall that?
I thought it was audiobooks.
Oh, maybe it's
that
audio.
was audiobooks,
Maybe it's
because we
audio. Okay.
really pared down the
I knew it was a
audiobooks.
media other than
Yeah.
a book.
I
So
think we
you're
went
right, yeah.
from about 500 to 700 audiobooks, and now we're in the 200s. But they're circulating almost the same amount, just
Yeah.
with those 200.
You can find them.
Because you can find them, and now they're all in one spot.
That's nice.
That's excellent.
Yes. All right. So I think I went over most of the statistics that you have before you. That one chart is a little weird. The one that had the pie graphs that show the amount of books basically that we have on our shelf versus the books that we have out by type, but that chart below you shows you kind of the relationship between those two by graphs. And the big takeaway is that even though children's fiction is a smaller part of the collection, they make up a much larger part of our checkouts. Which one that the programming has been bringing the kids in. We have a lot of movement on our story times. Also, when people check out children's books, they're generally checking out almost to the left of the books that we get.
Sure.
And then, adults will generally check out 1 or 2 at a time. I have 3 checked out right now, and I think that's the most I've had checked out in a while. And eventually, I'm going to start reading one of those.
Another field.
Yeah.
Wow, this is amazing. Our program attendance is.
Yes, thank you for pointing that. So this was what was requested at the last meeting. Wanted to know, how are we in programming compared to that group of libraries that's in similar size to us? So, just as a reminder, I have the 4 libraries that are just above us as far as population size goes, and the 4 below us. So statistically, we should be in the middle for all of these charts. Now, as far as on-site programming goes, as you can see, Guthrie Library with a astonishing 385 programs is the second highest out of our cohort as far as programs go.
Yeah.
Even better if you look at the next chart. We are number 1
Yeah.
by a lot.
Yeah.
We had almost 10,000 people attend programs last year.
Great job.
Elk City had almost 8,000, and then everyone else had much, much lower. So the amount and quality of programs that we are putting on here at the Guthrie Library is far exceeds the amount of staff and the amount of resources we have.
So Coweta had 553 programs.
Yes.
Is that what that means?
Yeah.
That does, yes.
Holy cow.
In a year, which is more than 1 a year.
That's more than 1 a day.
1 a day, sorry, yes.
Oh my god.
It's definitely also more than 1 a year.
1 a year, yeah.
Well, it makes you wonder, like, if they're reporting the same as you're reporting.
And these
Like,
are
they considering
self-report.
something a program that we don't consider a program?
They should not, because so this
It's probably
information is
fine.
taken from the annual survey that we do, that I talk about every year that we do. And as far as programming goes, there are specific definitions that.
So they must have
walk out.
multiples going on during
They probably
each
have
day.
multiple going on.
A children's
each
and
day.
an adult.
But their attendance is
I know, that's what I was looking
terrible.
at. It's really, really off kilter from their number of programs.
That's so sad.
So they're doing a lot of
Ours is-
programs with a few people showing up.
Yeah.
How big
Which
is
I don't-
Coweta? Are they about our size?
They
or
are about our size.
Okay.
If I remember off the top of my head,
I know,
I'll have
I
to
know.
double check.
I'm asking you lots of questions.
Yeah, no. The population range for this cohort goes from like 8,000 people, and I believe the highest one is 13,
13,000.
and we are 11.
We're 11.
So.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see, I'm looking at their activity calendar now. They've
That's
got-
just so interesting.
every day they've got something, just like a few in November.
And you got to remember, November through January is the slow programming at
Sure.
every library I've ever worked at.
Yeah, but I just can't believe they're doing
Tai
500.
Chi, there's a walking, there's library fun time, and a manga club, all in one day.
Yeah.
Oh.
I did work at a library where it was very common to have 3 programs a day going on.
And it looks like they have maybe they have a regular volunteer that does Tai Chi, because they do it twice a week.
Wow.
And then they have a regular person that does the walk with ease, and they do that twice a week.
I'm just saying 553 programs
That's-
with a attendance rate of 0.31%. Like,
Yeah.
it sounds to me that you should do less programs like we are to get higher attendance.
Maybe it depends on, because
The
a
population.
lot of people fall into the trap in the library world. And if there's any library people listening into our meeting, and this is not a slide, but there for a while, it was very, very common to use attendance as the metric to judge whether programs are successful or not, or whether or not you're delivering value to your community.
Yeah, that's true.
That we have, as a library community, we've stepped away from that for a more holistic approach. We want to make sure that the programs are high quality and what people want. So
Yeah.
if 5 people show up for yoga, but if that has changed their life and now they're active and they can't make it to another yoga program, or this is the most physical activity they're doing, then that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
And good on them for doing
That's
something
true.
like that.
Yeah.
It just
And-
throws me
yeah.
away.
And it
Yeah, I
wouldn't
just
surprise
think- I
me
think
that,
it's
sorry.
great.
And there are probably a lot of communities where you have people that, a small group of people that really need this one thing. And it is
Yes.
really good that a library like that exists, that they can do that even, and not be so focused on the numbers that they're dropping important things just
Yeah.
because they are,
And it looks like
not
they
hitting our numbers.
have a virtual story time
Mhm.
at 7 p.m. every Tuesday too.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. I like that.
You know, and like the Tuesday before, not to compare because I think we're doing excellent, but
I think we're
just
wonderful.
they have like the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 events that day, and it's mainly kids. It's like story time, a kids craft, library fun time. So I mean, it sounds like that they're really serving their community the way that works for them, but it may not have
Yes.
very many people show up.
And a lot of communities aren't as fortunate as we are to have things like a very active trunk or treat program.
Absolutely.
So you got to remember that's 1,000 people of our annual attendance
Absolutely.
just for trunk or treat.
Yeah,
And
and they may
then
not have a
our-
chamber like we do.
Correct.
I know that's a valid point.
Yeah.
I just am blown away. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And the next
Great
two-
job, Guthrie.
Thank you.
Yay.
We will take it. And the next set of charts is same information, but it's for offsite programs.
Offsite
And there we are not knocking it out of the park as compared to the onsite programs, but we're not doing that. And there for a while, we were not focusing on doing offsite programs. We've changed that a little bit. Of course, a big limiting factor with us is time and the amount of staff that we have.
Yeah.
Because if we're sending
Sure.
people offsite to do programs, that's
Right.
less people we have in the building.
Can you give an example of an offsite program?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Story time at the airport.
There you go.
Yeah, I know that
Story
one.
time
And
at
then
the
there was Mini
airport.
Melba. They did a story time at Mini Melba.
Okay.
Yeah, we've done story times also at Mineral Wells. We do those
Okay.
during the summer. Other than story times,
Because I know those sound like the airport one sounded like it was very well attended.
it was.
Okay.
And we
Cool.
will. Did you find some extra?
No, I was just.
Oh, okay.
I think it's that's.
Trying to think of some of the other offsite programs we did. We did the Back to School Bash was an
Okay.
offsite program.
Yeah.
We went to that.
Right.
We have done Red Brick Nights in the past, from what I understand. Those would be an offsite program.
Okay. Just
Not
curious.
something we do here, but I have worked at a library that did book clubs in nursing homes.
Oh,
That's a
neat.
good, yes.
I like that.
Yeah, at that particular library, that was the only book club that we could do that had decent attendance.
It might be
Yeah.
nice
Many
to
of us
look
will.
into like a craft thing at a nursing home and see if
Oh, that's a good idea.
people would be willing to share. Because I know that like my great grandmother lived in a nursing home and she taught me how to crochet, and she loved having the company and so
That's a good idea.
yeah.
There you go.
Hey.
Come on. Don't give me the defective one.
All right, I think that concludes my report for
Wonderful,
Thank you.
yeah.
Like I said, usually I have social media statistics, but we'll do that on a quarterly
Yep.
basis.
Sounds good to me.
All right, so the next item of business is the Guthrie Library Strategic Plan discussion, and I'll turn it back over to Kim.
Sure. All right. So I was going to do a little recap. A lot of that was going to be for the benefit of our new person. So we may be doing a recap next time we meet.
That's fine.
But that may be a good thing to do every time because we are progressing this very, very step by step, and I want to make sure we're all on the same page. So to recap, we are in the midst of redoing our strategic plan. We have a strategic plan in place, but that is very old and it probably does not meet our current needs at the moment. So at our last,
That's the
that's the
current one,
one from 2016,
That's
so
our
it's almost
current
10
one.
years old.
Wow.
So at our last meeting, yeah. So at
And here's some samples.
our last meeting, we
From
basically
similar-
had decided that yes, we're going to proceed with the strategic plan. We just kind of talked about what kind of things we'll look over, took a look at some other strategic plans, and this is a meeting where we were going to kick off some of the doing process. So this book has a pretty good chart about our next steps because the workload flip-flops. At the very beginning of the process is a lot of information gathering, and a lot of that is going to be done by a citizen planning committee. That is the group of people that we're going to talk about today that we're going to rely on to provide us both information on Logan County and the city of Guthrie, as well as how the library helps with that. Once we gather that information, it'll be we'll pretty much be through with that committee, and we'll actually be going through that data and this working on formulating a strategic plan.
Where do you get the committee members?
That's what we're talking about today.
Perfect.
Question.
Yes.
Does any of that cross over with what we've already done regarding the grant, the data that was gathered for
Mhm.
the library as a system?
Yes, you've seen through yes. So I purposely intended this grant, or I want to use the information from the grant. That's kind of why we have the timeline that we have to inform the strategic plan, because I knew that we were going to have to do one soon. So a lot of the information we get from the ALA Transforming Library grants, I want to incorporate into the strategic plan. So that is another set of information that we can use.
Okay.
Yeah.
It sort of sounded like it was crossover, like maybe a lot of the same types of
Yeah, and that may have
information.
been what Suzette had in mind when she actually wrote out those questions, was to kind of inform a strategic plan.
That makes sense.
Yeah, especially since the original strategic plan, I think, went through 2020 or 2021, which was about the time that the grant was supposed to close the first time around. So
Gotcha.
that makes sense in my head.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Now, will that data be too old to include in the strategic plan?
The data is 4 years old at the moment. So that is something we need to consider when we look at it. Yeah.
Because, I mean, just like we were talking earlier, people change so quickly.
Mhm.
Like, they're so transitional with houses and
Mm-hmm.
Well, not
especially
only
with something
that.
free, like,
Right. Well, the needs that you have with a 3-year-old are going to be different than the needs you have when you have
a
a 7-year-old.
7-year-old. Yeah, that's true.
So as a parent, when you come in, you're going to be looking at children's books, but also when they get older, you're going to be looking at books that are chapter books
Yeah.
and things like
Yeah.
that. So, and also if they're being homeschooled, they might require different
Mhm.
things versus public school versus anything else. So I think it might be looking into trying to update some of the data if possible, but
So the data from the grant is going to be supplemental to what we do
Absolutely.
from the
Yeah.
thing. I was really hoping when I started the process, it's like, oh, I don't have to worry about the data collection part because I've got all this data
It's all right
here.
there.
But after going through it, some of y'all may not have been here for when I coded the data the first time. Some of through no fault of their own, it's just the way some of these surveys go. Some of the data does not really help with this, and also, as we mentioned, it's 4 years old, and it was pre-pandemic, so
Oh, and that's a totally different world.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're talking about a different world right now.
For sure.
Much.
So for the community planning committee, this is a group of about a dozen folks from the community that we want to kind of pick their brain about.
Sorry.
No, you're
I
very
have to
good.
get them out of my face because I'm.
About where we stand, how we're doing, and use that information to inform like the vision statement, and then everything our strategic plan follows through that. So the fun activity I have planned today is kind of brainstorming potential folks for this community planning agreement or committee, and also the way the book does this, which this book is also slightly dated, also pre-pandemic. I am questioning some of the tactical things that they want us to do. Because the idea was this, is that you get a dozen people, we meet as a group, and then we all sit around the table, eat some cookies, talk about the community and the library, and then come up with, you know, the kind of data that we need to go forward. Part of me wonders if this could be done virtually, but then again, we may, is it better to have a lot of people in a shallow pit of data, or is it better to have a couple people and just really get their thoughts and feelings about the community?
Does it have to be around the table, or
It doesn't. See,
can it be
that's what they think. I actually think we would probably have more success and better participation if we did it virtually.
Absolutely.
Because
People are so busy.
they're
And
so
then that way
busy,
they
and
can-
this is honestly asking a lot. 'Cause
Yes. And then this way people can respond when they have time.
when they have time.
And then it's a constant.
And be able to kind
Committee.
of think about
Yes.
it. It's like,
Because like if you meet around the table, I mean, I know a lot about Logan County and the city of Guthrie, but that doesn't mean that I'll have the answers while I'm sitting in front of 11
Yeah.
other people I don't know. And at least behind a keyboard, I can
right.
think about what I want to say
Mhm.
before I say it.
I think
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
And you have the regular brainstorm dynamics that, you know, hearing conversation may prompt things and you get more information, but you also run the risk of, you know, one or two people dominating the conversation.
Yes.
So,
And in a virtual, and you that won't happen.
right. And also we could, my idea is basically is that we try this virtually, and then if we need to follow up, we could grab some or all of the folks, feed them cookies and pizza.
Yeah.
Follow up
Get
with an
right in.
in-person.
Or you can do a Zoom.
Which
as well.
oddly enough sounds exactly what the grant's doing. Before
Right.
anybody makes a parallel with that, this is kind of what we're doing with the grant.
I think
I think
virtual
that's-
would be better.
I think that's a great idea and a great place to start, for sure. I agree with Samantha on that.
All right. So the folks that would be the best for us on this committee are people that are committed to the community, that know it very well, can articulate and paint a good picture of the community and what it needs.
When do you have to have the names?
Since we started this process early, and we don't have a deadline,
Okay.
breathing down our necks, like this whole process is supposed to take 7 months.
Okay.
If we take longer than that, I think we are in the clear. Like I said, the strategic plan is on file with ODL. I just want a better one
Yes.
right now. So anytime we're not operating under the 12-month deadline that I thought we were.
Okay.
So especially considering it's Christmas and things like that, I was going to brainstorm some names now and maybe start reaching out in January or February.
Brittany Timmons.
That's a great one. She was on the last one.
She was?
Yes, at least according to Candy. If I remember
She wasn't
right.
at the when was it done?
Well, she was probably at the hospital.
When was it done? 16?
2016. Okay.
No, she's only been at the chamber 4
That
years.
is right.
And then it's
Maybe it was something. Maybe I'm getting confused with something else that she volunteered us.
she may have
'Cause I
volunteered for something else, but she offered when we were looking at the library as a system, and we were looking at potentially getting a group of citizens together to discuss it. She said that she would be willing to do that. So, but as far as whatever else she's done, I don't know. But I know that she would be a great one because she really does have her finger on the pulse of the community, I think, in a lot of ways.
Do you think like Justin Fortney?
Justin.
Can he?
Yeah.
Since he works for the city.
Actually, so I have a list of like suggested.
Oh, fabulous.
Yes, and I do want to include people from the city. So I will ask the city manager and the city clerk,
Sure.
and absolutely Mayor Gitling to do it.
That's
I was
good.
actually wondering if I could bug all of the city councilmen, but I'm going to run that through some administrators to make sure that I don't make things worse for other folks. I keep getting emails from somebody I never talked to. I didn't even like them the time I did talk to them. City councilor, mayor.
You mentioned that a lot of homeschoolers or EPIC charter schoolers come here. If there's a homeschool association,
I know there's a group on Facebook, and I think it's Guthrie Homeschool.
if there's like an administrator or a leader of that association, I think that might be a really good,
Okay.
because they're going to be ones that really use the library resources a lot, I think.
And we have a regular group of teachers, so
I was
can
going to
reach
say
out
somebody
to
from the
them.
school, Dr. Simpson or
I was gonna say,
Carmen.
Do we know anybody at the school that might help us out with this?
Right.
I was gonna give you suggestions later. I wanted to go ask first.
Sure.
I mean,
Absolutely.
not let you ask. I was
Throw
gonna
names out there.
All right.
Chris Evans is always
involved.
involved in everything, and being the Guthrie News page and sports page guy.
What about someone like John Pagodas?
I put him down on my list.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking of him.
I was gonna ask him.
I was trying to think of more people that have maybe younger kids. Brittany has kids in the school system
She
right
does.
now.
I reach out to any of the churches on Noble and just
I was thinking
see-
about reaching out to some of the folks in the Ministerial Alliance.
I would just do the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Just ask who wants to be a part of it.
because they'll
Because we don't
know.
know who's using the library as well. That's where I was thinking. We want people using the library for the strategic plan.
Right. Well, and also, I mean, any of the churches will know the needs of the community, and if we can better serve people who aren't currently using.
Yes,
the
and that's the thing we need to
library
keep in
ways,
mind is
yeah.
we are not looking for information about library users. We're
Sure.
looking about people in the community.
Right.
So,
Yeah, maybe someone at the Hope House.
That's a great
or Godspeed
Global.
Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, Orville, Myers, or Mary Kaufman.
Real estate. You can ask any of the real estate agents.
That's also a good idea because they're
Part of the
talking to
community.
people that are
moving in.
Buying.
wanting to move here or potentially wanting to move here.
Sure.
And they might have insight into why someone would choose not to.
Yep.
You know, so that
Mhm,
might be
for
a
sure.
good.
Yeah.
Jennifer Sparkman, she's a real estate agent, and then she is also heavily involved with the territorial Christmas stuff, I think.
Oh, fantastic.
So she might be a good.
Right, resource.
I wonder about maybe the bookstore.
Oh,
Chelsea.
Chelsea. Yeah, I think
I bet
Chelsea.
she would
You know,
be great.
because same,
To great.
kind of. You know
I
what
agree.
people are looking for. And
Yes. I bet she
what
knows
they're
quite a
asking
bit.
about, what they're interested in, what
Mhm.
you know, things like that.
Very good.
And if they've had programs that they've offered that have
Mhm.
been really, really popular, that
Oh, the book clubs are so popular.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
but things
Not
like,
that I'm jealous. I'm actually really.
but that might be a
They're
really good
equally-
resource too, because you know she knows what she's doing that you're not doing, that people are super interested in. So it might be really helpful to have her perspective on that.
I was gonna suggest maybe going through the chamber investors,
Mhm.
and there's people that are just regular investors, like personal investors,
Yeah.
and they put their phone number on there, so you can call them.
They're called civic investors. If you want to look them up by investor type, I think they're listed as a civic.
Now, are you looking for Logan County in general?
Yes.
Too?
Well, there's also the Paper Pages bookstore
Yes.
in Crescent.
Yes, they're a great one.
Mm-hmm. They have, and I can see if there's a contact name, but I'm not sure if there would be on there.
And they're Logan County.
Yes,
Mhm.
Crescent. Mhm.
You might even reach out to Coyle and see somebody
Yeah.
from the Coyle's public schools.
That's what I was
They
thinking.
could-
If anybody from Coyle or
So my friend Brandy Brown works there. She might be a good person to get on your committee.
Brandy Brown.
But she's very busy. It's one of the
Okay.
people that I'm like, virtual would be best.
Well, yeah. All right. Let me go through their suggested groups because I think we hit all or almost all of them. Reach out to someone at the Y.
Oh, yep.
Mm-hmm.
We could do Ashley Speary or Caitlin Payne.
Cultural groups. Education we got. Ethnic organizations, family services.
Casa.
CASA. Well,
You could talk to
Nikki.
Nikki.
yeah, Nikki at CASA would be great.
There's not a contact name on the Paper Pages
Okay.
website. Sorry. But again, Brittany would be a great resource for that if you want to, you know, ask about contact information for a lot of places.
Maybe someone
Cool.
with sooner success.
Looks to me like you have more than 12.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to start paring this down. Oh, and I was going to at least include the officers of the library board and the officers of the Friends group as
Awesome.
well. But if members want to, I will gladly send you
Emails.
emails.
Spam your email box.
Spam your email box. Or if any members of the general public
Are
wanna
interested in
are interested.
being on the committee. Cool.
All
I
right.
have a couple more names that I'm going to ask, and then I'll get back
Yeah,
with
you
you.
can just email those to me.
Sweet.
That is. And like I said,
That's a great
I
start.
will probably get on this mid-January-ish.
And you know, some of those
Good.
people
Who's
that you contact, they might say, you know, I really can't, but you know who would be great? And
Yes.
they may have another contact name for you. So, you know, I think you got a really good start there.
You do.
Would you do more specific question, you guys had it in a Google Doc format, right? Where you had kind of like a survey on Google.
We did for the grant.
For the
if I remember
grant part.
correctly, yes.
Would you do another one that gives you more specific information later for just random users, or do you need that data? I know we're looking at this part first.
Right.
So
the next part would be deciding, because I was going to start off with general questions about the community. What makes this a great place to live? What have you noticed change,
sure.
positive or negatively, in the past couple years? Mm-hmm. And then based on those, formulate some other questions and go like, how has the library either been a, success or hindrance to growth in the community? Things like
Right.
that. So
Yeah.
those were the general questions I was thinking about.
Well, and if you do end up having an in-person meeting,
Mhm.
I would love to be able to supply pizza
Oh,
or
sure.
whatever,
Aw.
and
That would
like
that would
be able
really
to,
nice.
to help in that way to feed the masses.
Okay.
Thanks, Grace.
Just let me know if you guys.
Oh, absolutely. All right, so that is what I wanted to pick your brains about today.
Okay.
Do we have any public comments from anybody that wandered in from off the street that wanted to contribute?
I mean, I didn't wander in from off the street.
I don't know if you know, but this is Cheyenne. She
Hi,
is
Cheyenne.
one of our former teens. She's still a teenager, but she is a successful student at Southern Nazarene.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thank you. I moved here when I was like 8 years old and made instant friends with the library staff. You can imagine I didn't have many friends back then, but this became like, it's my home here at the
Yes.
library. And then when I was like 14, they started the Teen Library Council, so I joined that because I thought I was, I was like, this is cool, and it was, and it is. So I actually got to help, start that, develop that. I'm an entrepreneur or whatever. But I was thinking, when you were saying like stuff about, the vision and stuff, I know we have a website,
Yes.
and it's a good website.
Mm-hmm.
I think the only thing about it is that it is kind of old, maybe.
I actually have some information about that. Like, yeah, go.
It doesn't. I think the website that we have now has been pretty similar to the one that we've had since I was like
Probably so.
a lot younger. And I was thinking about, and don't get jealous here, but the Metropolitan Library System.
I've never heard of it. Where's this?
It's just a really small system of 17 libraries that accrues
19.
19 libraries that accrues, millions of dollars in taxes every year.
44 million a year.
44.
Twice the budget of the city. Yeah.
They have an app.
I hate
So-
that.
When you go on the app, it allows you if you're at the site, you can check out books on your phone. You can see what's present. A lot of what it does is organization and communication between all of the different sites. Like, oh yeah, we have this book, but it's not at this library.
It's at Bethany. Or it's
Yeah. But another thing that I was thinking about is just
as far as it goes for an app, is that we could make our website, or say you had an app and you put the website in the app, because that's what their app is. It's just their website on the app, basically. But more interactive, just kind of I don't know, just adding fun stuff in here. I'm spitballing here, and I'm 19 years old, guys. Please,
You're awesome.
I haven't been on this planet very long.
You're doing great.
But say if we had, and this would just be for this library, obviously, say a book club thing where you could comment on a book after you read it, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, just to have discussions about a book,
Like a virtual book club.
yeah, on the
A
site.
virtual space.
I
Yeah.
like it.
Or it would also make it somewhat easier to access the website because you're always logged on that app. So you could rent out the meeting room, suggest programs, do all that stuff, which I know you can do already, but it just makes a space for it, and it gives people who are always doing this another reason to, they're like, they have it on their phone now. On their phone in one easy pressable button.
Yeah, and with push notifications reminding them about
I was thinking about push
programs,
notifications.
programs that are coming up and things on the calendar and things like that.
Yeah, like that. And I have, I get an email notification when my stuff is due. You get an app notification. And every year, I get an email that says, you have saved this much money by using the public library instead of buying your books. You could have that counting up. Every time you check out your books, it could say, da-da-da-da-da, your next book is this, your last visit was this. Just silly little things like that that people think they're using their phones,
Engages them with the library.
yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a great idea.
I like it.
Yeah, that's a wonderful idea.
So don't tell anybody, but because I haven't added this to my director's report, so I have a whole lot of information now. But the website that we have now is sponsored by the Oklahoma Department of Libraries, and they are actually moving basically the type of websites that they're using. So we are going to have a new website in the very near future.
Good.
That they're paying for?
Yes, yeah, yeah. Yeah,
And
it was one of those
that
things,
would
is like
be-
you could keep your old website and pay for it, or you can come with us to this new website. And
Perfect. Now, will it have an app?
I doubt it, but it's something I can look into.
At least-
It would probably be a lot easier to have an app for the new website than without one, being honest.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Most likely.
Is that it should be able, pieces should be able to fit.
Don't want to
better.
make any promises I can't keep.
Sure,
but-
absolutely.
Another cool thing would be you could recommend books that the library has based on the reader's previous preference, instead of now it just recommends random books. They're not that tailored on the website. It's just hey, look at all these books, and it's Dogman, and it's yeah,
Dogman
Dogman
is very popular site now.
Dogman is very popular and it's very cool. But do I want to check out Dogman? Not really, no. I don't want to check out Dogman. I could probably read it from the time it takes me to pick it up and walk it to the counter.
It's okay if you're a Cat Kid comic club.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, it is. It's the same author. It's basically the same.
But
thing.
tailored recommendations, stuff like that.
Okay.
I think that's a great idea.
I think you should definitely email Cameron about all of this.
You should. You have my email address.
Do I?
If not, I will grab you my card, or I will give it to you.
And
next
that
time.
way, whenever we get the new website, you can start working on all of it. If we can get an app.
Yeah. Which,
Or a more interactive website.
Or there might be a grant out there that would,
could be.
yeah. See, I think that would be the way that would have to happen.
And it also reminds us that we might want to talk about how we can meet the technology needs of the community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that could be
Sounds-
your strategic plan.
Sounds like someone is asking for.
More updated technology that will
She's
connect
probably not
and-
alone either.
I know.
Yeah, we gotta be honest.
I feel that way too.
More engagement. I think you really hit a nail on the head there, because I know everyone's involved in so much, especially in our community, our little community. Everyone is involved in multiple things. And so the more you have an entity poking you about what's going on.
Turning in your library books on time.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, the more you have an entity trying to engage you,
Yes.
the more you're going to be engaged with that entity, because of all the things competing for our time and our attention.
Sure.
And,
Absolutely.
when I get a push notification from something, it gets my attention.
Mhm.
Whereas I might have the calendar from the library on my refrigerator door, but after the 4th day, I'm ignoring it. I don't even notice that it's there anymore. So, I think that's a great idea. Something that definitely needs to be included in the strategic planning for the future of the library, for certain.
Also, and another thing, sorry. One thing that I keep seeing just like come up,
Mhm.
like it's new, growing, and lots of involvement. Mostly boys, not gonna lie, but video games.
Never heard of them.
You need to get out more. But that could be a thing for the Teen Library Council,
Yeah,
for them to have like video game groups.
Jacob is absolutely itching to start a video game club.
Yeah, but the thing is, I know that our most advanced video game system is a Wii. So
Wii's are fun.
They're wonderful, but they're a little outdated.
Yeah, a little bit.
Do they even still make those?
They make they're called Switches now.
Yeah, so I mean, you could this big projector split into 4, have people like over here racing or other public library appropriate video games that they could have going for an hour and a half every other week.
Mhm.
Yeah, there has been talks about doing a video game tournament. We just don't know.
I was gonna say you could have tournaments
With
and
your
how that
Wii.
would work out.
things like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Cheyenne.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you very much for being here.
Yes,
And
we
commenting.
appreciate it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was already here earlier, and then Cameron was like, "You should come to the meeting," and I was like, "Okay," and then I did.
Good job, Cameron.
Good. We're glad that you did.
Well,
You
that
chose
is-
to come, and we appreciate
I
it.
think all of that is very valuable input.
Mhm.
So thank
It
you.
really
Yes.
is, because we're just old people who love the library.
Speak for yourself.
I mean, I don't think that I'm much better. I have unicorns on my shoes, so I mean,
That's okay.
Most days I do too.
Yeah.
That's all right.
there's dinosaurs on one side, unicorns on the other, because that's what a teenager wants.
That's right.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your comments, Cheyenne. That really is just a wonderful thing to add to the meeting, and we're going to take that into consideration and see what we can do to make Guthrie Library better than it already is. So, with that, is there anyone that has any other comments? No? Okay.
Take some cookies home.
Yes. Then I vote to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to
at
adjourn?
6:30 Motion to adjourn at 6:37 p.m.
Second.